And as we stay in this silent place, let that stillness impermeate every part of your being as you just let go and let the peace of God surround you. Knowing that in this very sacred, holy space, we are one. And I invite you to feel the energy of the beautiful beings around you, the prayers, the face of God, that lovely fellowship that you feel as you enter into the doors of this sacred unity center. And I invite you to allow yourself to really go deeper and ask the question, what does community mean to me? Do I take ownership for this space? Am I willing to open to a whole new, infinite possibility, wider and bigger than anyone could have imagined? So in the silence, again, I invite you to sit in the question and know that when the answer's ready, it will emerge. And when you are ready, and when you are comfortable, very slowly, very gently, bring yourself back to this experience in this very present moment. Well, greetings from Sheboygan. So I'm on vacation, and one of my friends said to me yesterday, so now that you have a Sunday off, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to Madison to speak. Why not? You know? So, yeah, so I am actually glad to be here again and glad to see you all. I drove early this morning, so I didn't have to worry about bringing my clothes. I had them on when I got here. So we didn't have to go shopping again, Kay. So yes, that was a funny thing, and I will put that in my book someday that I did that. So I wanted to tell you, that my therapist set a half a glass of water in front of me and asked me if I was an optimist or a pessimist. So I looked at the therapist and I picked up the glass and I drank the water and I told her I was a problem solver. So sometimes we forget that we have a third choice. It's not the right or wrong. It's a direction. It's an action. And I found this quote. I'm not used to not having this microphone, so excuse me. So I found this quote that said, "Promise me that you will not spend so much time trying to keep your head above water and that you forget that you know how to swim." And I thought about that. Problem solver. Promise me that you will not spend so much time trying to keep your head above water that you forget that you know how to swim. And so I was thinking about if we know how to swim, sometimes though, don't we just tread water, right? Treading water can be relaxing and peaceful, and it allows time for quiet reflection and deeper connection and to hear that still voice within. But then, here's another question. What happens when we just stay there and let life pass us by? Right? What happens then? So we're neither in joy or sorrow. We just exist. If we stay too long, we just exist. So when we tread water for a long time, what happens is we mark the years, but we don't live them. You know, and I have this nail person that I go to, and every time I go there, I say, and I even tried this one, you know, how's life wonderful for you today, right? And she goes, same old, same old. Right? So you're just marking the time, but you're not living your life. Now, this is very funny talking about swimming because I'm a person who can't swim. So treading water, however, was always a gift to me because I could get in and I could dog paddle around and feel safe as long as my feet could touch something underneath me. The second, you know, like if you're in a pool and all of a sudden it does that thing like that, and that's when I panic and drown because I can't swim and I don't feel safe. But treading water can make you feel safe. And I'm thinking more and more about this, and I realized then water is the driving force of all nature. In fact, in the Christian Gospels, water is the metaphor for divine wisdom. Water, metaphor for divine wisdom. Whoever drinks of this water will never thirst again. Whoever comes into spirituality and starts that path cannot go backwards again. See how the interpretations are there for us. So what this means is that when you take a little bite of something new and it opens your mind and you become curious, you have to come back and get more and more and more. I remember when I was doing my first classes in religious science, and then our classes were from 6:30 to 9:30 with a half-hour coffee break in the bookstore open. Smart minister. But I remember getting home 10 o'clock at night and couldn't wait to get into bed and take the textbook and read the next homework because it was so exciting because this new knowledge was coming in. And that's what spirituality does for you guys. That's why you come here every Sunday. So we have to, when we step in this spiritual path, I don't know about you guys, but can you tell me there's no turning back, right? It's another class, another book, another seminar, and of course, consistent Sundays, right? Yeah, that's the minister's prayer. So the metaphor, though, for trading water and water itself allows one to get themselves in this sea of harmony, of peace and enjoyment, and it's really very important for us to do. It seems that water then is a running theme of being sacred. Think about this for a minute. Water came even before the light. The first thing there was water. So you have to really ask the question, now that you're thinking about this a little bit, have I simply been treading water, settling, surviving, avoiding pain, rather than being actively involved in seeking out life? Not seeking out something new, not having this great big goal that you're going to do, but seeking out life, just seeking out living with a purpose. What I find is outrageous about those who tread water too long is this. It's not that they're afraid to ask for what they want, but that they're willing to settle for less. That's the sadness. And I'm sure that you've seen that in some of your families and some of your friends. And you think, God, they have so much potential. Why doesn't he, she just? And of course, we can't live our life for anybody else, for ourselves. So then that thing that should run through your mind is, it's not my business. And that's a hard one, right? So another question. Are we treading on thin ice? Because this can lead to a dead man's float. It's not a place for growth and living. Have you ever felt like you're treading water, you're going on with life, you're working, and all of a sudden you're just tired, and your body is heavy, and you're weighed down by that inactivity? Did you forget to swim? Or did you just give up on life? See, in almost every hero's journey that you will read, they have to cross some water. At some point, we must move on and get onto solid ground. Water teaches us to be adaptive and watch and to listen. Water doesn't get dammed up, does it? What does it do? Right, it goes around, it goes through, it weaves like this, but it doesn't get dammed up. It rises above, goes around, moves through the blockage. The same is with us. If at the first of our journey we can't rise up to that highest consciousness that we want, I'm not at the highest consciousness I want. The next best thing then is to go around the blockage and see what is. What is the next thing that I can do that's going to bring me to where I want to go? We can, each one of you, and myself included, we can cross boundaries and enter into a new place, and that's exciting. I get excited when I think of something new, but that first step, just taking that first step, can be the hardest and yet lead us to the most unimaginable things. Because, remember this, water is the metaphor for life-changing new life. It's the rebirth. It's the rebirth. So we must do more than treading water. We must step out of that safety net and get on solid ground. I found this definition of water that I really liked, and see if it applies to some of the waves in your lives, because we have waves in our lives. For water, I fall, I rise, and fall again. Is that part of our lives and the waves that go in and out? I am the origin of life. We've already talked about that. I am also the collector of the dead. I sweep along the twig. In a slow stream, I also smash down the rocks in my blissful fury. Don't mistake me for a tyrant. I may have a frozen heart, but I melt when I see a parched throat. Isn't that a beautiful representation of water? So how many times in our own lives have we risen and fell? I have a few times. Any of you have that going in there? Yeah, right. And sometimes we have fury. Sometimes we get so angel, yeah, okay, so angry. The angels are telling me to change my focus. That we get so angry that we just don't understand. But yet, as this writing says, I may have a frozen heart. So something stops me, and I don't like who I become, and I'm like all like this. But I melt when I see a parched heart, because as soon as we see somebody else that is in need, somebody that has a bigger, much more bigger issue than I do, but I melt my heart when I see a parched heart. And this is what happens when we keep on this journey called spirituality. ABC, my first teacher, Dennis Merrick Jones, ABC, awareness brings consciousness. If I could tell you how many times I heard that in my first 32 weeks of study, and I can tell you I probably say it 3 times a Sunday, because ABC, awareness brings consciousness. The more we allow ourselves to see us in the perfection that we are, not I am perfect, but in the perfection that we are, the more we see that, that's where awareness brings consciousness. All we're doing is taking in what we know and bringing it to a higher level. That's all. We are like a force of water, have that same tenacity and that force within our own minds. So let's not stifle it anymore. Now take your arms and shake them like this. Come on, shake it out. Yeah, let's not stifle anymore. Enough. Go, enough. Let me hear you. No. Okay, right. So here's what we know about water. Water never goes stale. What is it teaching us? To keep on moving, to keep on, to move, to be active in mind, body, soul. Active in mind, body, and soul. I have to do all of them. I'm great in the mind and the soul part, active in my body, get off the couch and go for a walk. I don't feel like it. Yeah, we have to do all of them. We have to do all of them, not just one of them. We forget that we're energy, right? We're divine energy. And even the slightest change that we make can change the direction of your life. And you can get startling results. Startling results. Just believing in who and what you are. Beautiful child of God. The Bible says, I make all things new. See, nothing is static. Something is always moving. Behold, I make all things new. Nothing must be the way it was unless you keep treading water. So I'm saying to you, jump in and swim or get out of the water. Or you could say, why in the heck didn't I learn to swim? I got in trouble in my last church. I did this talk about 6 weeks ago. And I said, why in the hell didn't I learn to swim? And we have this one, he's a wonderful human being, been in the church 100 years, and we call him the guardian, and he's a great man, and this is his posture, and he came up and said, I don't think hell is appropriate on Sunday. Okay, I'll save it till Monday. So it became the joke through, the joke, don't say hell. So anyhow, I said it here, because I'm leaving after. So we all have personal problems in our lives. I do, we all do. Not all the time, thank God. But to keep our heads above water, at some point we realize that all the challenges can be solved through spiritual understanding by detaching ourselves what appears personal. My friend Jackie, she's back there. Jackie, wave your hand. Jackie's my friend that drove with me today from Sheboygan, and we were talking about that. Yay, Jackie, right? And we were talking about that when we were driving, that it's like you can be mad at someone that you don't care that a lot about, and it's nothing personal, and you can let it go. But if it's somebody close to you and something happens, then it's personal. But you don't understand that was personal. And that's the way some of our minds talk sometimes. So it's letting go of detaching ourselves from what appears personal and unifying with our Christ consciousness, ruining with the center. If you don't want to get that technical Christ consciousness, which is what we're all about, by the way, but center. Unifying ourselves with center, going back to the beginning. Not when all else fails, try God, but try God first. What a concept. What an absolute concept that is. See, when we put ourselves out in the challenge and strive for this higher understanding, we remove the personal and move back to the spiritual realm. Excuse me one moment. It's empty, that's okay. I'm sorry. I have to tell you a funny story. So I tell my daughter, say, Nadine, I'm really funny. And my daughter goes, Mom, you're not funny. I go, no, Nadine, people really think I'm funny. And she goes, Mom, there's nothing funny about you. So anyhow, so what's this difference then between the spiritual realm and the personal realm? So when it's personal, we are involved. When it's personal, we're involved. We have too much energy around it. When it's spiritual, spirit is involved and we have no energy around it. We have detachment. Oh, she just must have been in a bad mood today. No big deal. Let it go. Let it go. Remember, when in conflict, God is always there. Nothing can be healed unless God and the Holy Spirit are involved. So the work begins when we no longer hold on to the personal. When we release and surrender to this higher power and no longer allow ourselves to be dammed up by people, places, and things. So thoughts of centering then, thoughts of forgiveness, thoughts of love, that neutralizes. It has to hate, hurt, and anger. So think about a diver at the top of a giant waterfall. You know how to dive, but the biggest challenge is, what do you do to release the fear? And sometimes that's how high up we are. We're on that diving board. We have all this fear. What do we do? How do we get from there to this place within here? And it's simple. Center. Center, bring your consciousness and that faith you have many times before you dive in. Because the waterfall creates at the bottom a crystal clear lake. Think about that. Crystal clear lake, just like your higher consciousness is crystal clear. So there's nothing wrong with treading water and keeping your head above water. The sea is warm and calm. Nothing is softer, nothing's more flexible than water. Yet it's always during these rough times that we must learn to swim, or we may find ourselves sinking. Water will always find the shortest route. What we do as new thoughters, because we are so intelligent, and this is the truth, we as new thoughters sometimes have to stop and start, overthink, overanalyze, take the longest way to get to the simplest little hurdle. Anybody done that in here? Yeah, right? Right. So let me say, there's a part of us that's never separate from God, water. We're that divine droplet in the ocean. So I just ask you today to realize and always keep moving forward and realize that you're nearer your purpose than you think. It's that nagging inside of you that's saying, I need to be here. And it nags and it nags and it nags. You're so close to where you want to move to. And again, it may not be a job. It could be as much as painting your house and putting in new windows. The fear, something stops you from doing things. And it could be a new job. It could be the beginning of a relationship. It could be the end of a relationship. But it's your purpose is there. So know within you lies the power then, the power. And know that no one can hold you back unless yourself. So I have so much more, but I know my time is running out. So I would just like to end with a reading from Myrtle Fillmore, for those of you who don't know, the co-founder of Unity, and her little excerpt from how God heals sums up everything that I'm trying to say today. So I just want to read that to you. So listen, this is Myrtle speaking. All of us, sooner or later, come to a place in our development where we are no longer satisfied to go on living with the same old life without the knowledge of the oneness with God. Sometimes when we reach this place in our soul's progress, we do not know first what is taking place. We may become restless and dissatisfied. We may go through experience which we don't understand. We may even be tempted to think our good has gone from us. But just as surely as there is God, that one presence and one power, we shall find that we are just going from one room, as it were, into another larger room. So I ask you today as we end, tread lightly, then swim to shore. Live the life that your heart and soul is waiting for you to experience. And so ends this lesson, and so begins a very precious new moment, and so it is. Thank you.